So I thought I'd make another random video of my coding challenge per se for the year 2018. I was getting a little bored with my job, so I was thinking I would up my skill level and try to get a few projects completed. The first project that I tried to take on for the year was 100 days of coding. That got sidetracked because I was trying to clean up the basement for a weekend when the family was away and trying to just get a nice play area for Junior organized, as well as cleaning up my office. That became into a production. You have to stay tidy, people, otherwise it becomes a massive project. It took about a full week of just going through all my old papers and what have you, so it was quite a production. Anyways, the purpose of this video is I now have another weekend away, or I should say another weekend where my family decided to leave me alone. And it's a Thursday, almost Thursday evening. It's about almost 5 o'clock on a Thursday, February the 8th, 2018. So a project that I've been meaning to do for a while now, but that I haven't got any progress on, kept hitting the back burners, was fixing up a program I used to help with the parachute packing team at a local drop zone. I used to be the packing captain. And before I came along, they were using pen and paper, and then somebody would have to data entry all that information in. And it seemed like an obvious, okay, you guys need to convert this over away from the paper and pen method. And therefore, I introduced a simple Ruby on Rails program. But because internet was kind of hit and miss at the location, I decided to get an old PC. I made a local server on a Ubuntu distro, and then I just had the Ruby on Rails application pop up. It was very simple. I mean, it was almost the Ruby's on Rails tutorial, like getting started tutorials, plus a few other things just to tweak it for a parachute packing tally. And there was a whole bunch of features that I was never able to implement just because of lack of time and lack of knowledge. So therefore, the project's been stagnated. There's been a change of leadership over the years for that parachute packing team. The previous parachute packing captain, a friend of mine, he decided to remake the program, and he actually went a different method. I had interest in Ruby on Rails. That's why I chose that particular platform and method. He went with my MySQL background, and then I'm not sure if he went with a PHP, but he definitely went with the Bootstrap framework. Bootstrap created by Twitter. It's very popular these days. So he made as far as I understand, it was a nice little interface. And he hosted it on his free college workspace that they provided students. You know, there was one way of going about it. But what was really neat and really clever is that he actually spent a bit of money to get this. It was almost like a BlackBerry tablet with a little bit better internet service, and he nailed it down to the counter where most of the workers work. So where I had this old dusty CPU with big giant screen, I think it was a flat screen, but still it became the surfing station. A lot of people would use it for surfing the web rather than using it for the POS. His was a lockdown system, and from what I understand, it worked pretty good. But then the tablet started breaking down, and it started kind of having some issues because he wasn't on site to fix it up. So what ended up happening was the users would just access his system by their phone. And it was a huge shift. Where mine was just kind of on a local system, his was definitely hosted online, and people were easily able to access it from their mobile devices. Everyone had a smartphone. When I created mine, smartphones were still, I want to say 2008. I mean, yeah, there were iPhones, but they were just kind of entering the market. Not everybody had a nice cell phone at that age, it seemed. So his solution is pretty good. I'm not sure if they're still using it, to be honest. Another friend at another drop zone wants to make a new system. Uh, the other gentleman tried to sell a system for a crazy amount. It was something he wanted to price it at like hundreds of dollars per season, and it was a little too astronomical for this small drop zone startup. They're starting to get the numbers high, but they want to keep the costs low. So therefore, he reached out to me, young kid, not very technical, and is asking, "Hey, can we come up with a solution in Microsoft Access?" And to which case I said, "Okay, I think you can do a lot better than that." So this is where I'm going to step into the challenge again. So my wife and son, they're away tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then they return back on Tuesday. So that gives me 4 days more or less. I do have to work tomorrow, but more or less 4 days, I think, to do this little hackathon for myself. So I've given you kind of my user story. Basically, this program is going to be for somebody that packs parachutes. So the stats and record keeping for packing a parachute is very simple. Basically, it's your name, what rig you just packed, and timestamp it. And that's it. That's about it. And then if you need to add in notes like you notice some damage that needs to be repaired at the end of the day, or if you need to take something offline, those are some like extra features where you can actually take the item or the object out of the catalog or out of the available table. So I did have that in my original Ruby on Rails project. I was able to indicate whether the rig was online or offline, but it was still kind of convoluted. You had to enter an administrative password, and it was kind of tedious. So they didn't really keep up on that. So my basic objectivity for this weekend, for the next 4 days, is to get a nice little template base program working for my friend at the new drop zone. So I have a few ideas how I could go about this. I'm still relatively new to Django and Python, but I'm very interested in it. I actually went to PyCon in Montreal last November. I loved it. It was such a fun conference, and I haven't had a chance or an excuse to play with Python or Django other than dabbling in a few online books. The other method I could go with is try to update or refracture my refactor. Yep, it might be like refractoring, but it'd be refactoring my Ruby on Rails code. So when I originally created Ruby on Rails, we're talking probably more than 5 years ago, so maybe 5 or 6 years ago was the last time I touched it. And as a result, Ruby has progressed, so as Rails has progressed. And so when I tried to fire up the code after updating the dependencies, things are not working. And I'm like, what's going on here? And so the convention and the model of everything for Ruby on Rails has substantially changed. And the Ruby language itself, I'm not pro-star at all. I still learning. I have a library book over there that I'm looking at right now called the Ruby Cookbook. I have yet to really delve into it, and despite my best intentions. So really, that's my challenge is to think of should I go with Django or should I go with Ruby on Rails? I'm conflicted and torn between the two because both would be exciting for me to learn and to update my skill set. Whichever one I decide to go with, I think by the end of the weekend I should have something to show my friend, and that's my hackathon challenge. I've overpromised as always this weekend to a lot of people, so I could have the the brother-in-law visiting me. Also promised another friend I'd help out with his Toastmasters project, and then my mother-in-law, she's supposed to swing by, and we're supposed to talk about some upcoming court stuff that I'm trying to help her out with. So a lot of time could be taken away just from the usual nitty-gritty, but I'm hoping to, with this video and subsequent videos, document my hackathon from beginning to end, and it's all going to be open source. At the end, I intend everything to be available, so if you want to steal it, rob it, whatever, make it your own, by all means, you can go nuts. The concept is pretty simple, I think. I think it's based on CRUD. Is that CRUD? You create, update, delete records, or something to that fact. So it's I'm not really reinventing the wheel at all. It shouldn't be a complicated project. Anyways, that's my hackathon idea. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to share. So if you want to check out my progress as I move forward, it'll be at my GitHub page, github.com/PollyWill. I can put the link down below. And yeah, the clock is ticking. 4 days.